relief was the first thing I thought of. Is that, boy, it's a big burden off of kind of trying to plan and sorry about the dogs here.
We got the same problem in my house.
Yeah, the FedEx guys show up at this time, and then we've got our whole family's back in town still, just because our father-in-law passed away, and we're going to try to do something this weekend yet. But I would say that the biggest thing for us is just that burden's been lifted. I really felt like that it was going to work out in our favor this year, and we were going to be able to look past not having that postseason ban, so that was a good thing. But when you start thinking about it and having to prepare another season without that, that championship at the end of it, that would be very difficult for, not only the coaching staff, but for our players. And they did sacrifice a lot last year, just through, having that always in the back of the mind that we were preparing for 56 games. And then we knew that the season was going to be over on our last game. And that's always something that, I think is tough. And it's not that we have to, spend a lot of time motivating our players, because they're pretty motivated because, their goal is to move on and play professional baseball and those sorts of things. But, having postseason is huge for us, and it's going to really give us that extra drive and things that I feel is going to help us really kind of get over the top.
How does it change your recruiting? I guess I assume that would be a big thing for you to be able to tell kids that they can play.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a question, as we're talking to recruits and they're asking about those situations, and typically they're not very informed on it, so also it's hurt us, and thinking that we don't do things the right way at the University of Missouri, and that's totally false. There's nobody that I believe in all college athletics that compliance wise and taking care of doing things right, and our slogan of "Win It Right" is true at the University of Missouri. It's just that we have this little black cloud over us from dating back a little bit of time there. So having to explain that in every recruiting talk that we have, and then also saying that, hey, we're not sure for certain, we're not 100% certain in 2021 whether we're going to be eligible. So we no longer have to say that. We can say, yes, we're completely eligible. Things are clean, and we're looking for a long future being in the postseason.
I asked Coach Anderson, did she do a little fist pump or anything when she first got the news? Did you have any sort of celebratory fist pump or anything when?
Yeah, I don't know if I fist pumped or whatever, but I know that at the time there were so many things that was going on in our world with our father-in-law and everything else, and it was just like, gosh, finally some good news, and felt really, really good about it. So. When Jim called and said, hey, we just got some news for you. It's not completely out yet, but just wanted to give you a heads up that, we're going to release this. And, but it definitely made things a lot better. I can tell you that on that particular day.
Overall, how will you remember the postseason ban, this whole process of something that was completely out of your control, and now here we are that it actually, it still affects you guys, but at least it was sort of made right in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing that I think that we take away from it, and I think adversity really helps you mature as a young man and grow, and understanding that at that time it was just talking about, we're paying the penalty for, the past. And sometimes, life's not fair and you have to figure out ways to get through it. And I just think the way that our team rallied around each other was really special to see how they came together, and almost was like, in spite of, okay, well, we're going to show people that this team was a championship caliber team and should have been there in the postseason. So it was just cool to see not only just see that happen, but also the talk that the players had of and it was just, it really helped our guys get closer, I believe. in that adversity, a lot of times, you're either going to fall apart or you're going to come closer together. And this group definitely, came together, and was just, it was gratifying to see that. And that just tells you that you're recruiting the right young men, that's not going to cave under pressure. And I think that's the biggest takeaway that I had for this group.
You know what, this summer, what's your contact been with your team, and how have you guys kind of handled the COVID situation of not being able to have a regular summer workouts, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think baseball, I mean, obviously us getting our season cut short, but then, it's at that point when the season got cut short, it was kind of like, okay, well, hey, the good thing is we're going to be in good shape by the summer. Maybe by July 1st, we should be back in the summer baseball, and you guys will still get you're still going to be able to develop through the summer baseball games, and to see that kind of really take a hit. I mean, we have very few guys playing summer baseball right now. And the guys that are probably just kind of playing some pickup stuff locally, and it's not really SEC caliber baseball, and knowing that they've kind of had to take a back seat to their development is kind of depressing for not only as a coaching staff, but for those guys that's really trying to get to the next level, and the next level now that just we kind of see the way things are going. It's even going to be more difficult to get to the next level with shortened drafts and fewer minor leaguers and all those things that are very possible. Yeah, the overall part of your question, I think I forgot exactly where I was going with all this, but when you talk about the fact that their baseball has been affected so much, it's disheartening to see that for your players, and you want the best for them, and you want them to really be able to have those opportunities kind of expand and play this game as long as they possibly can.
Are any of your players allowed back on campus yet to do anything?
Yeah, July 6th was when the spring sports could get back on campus. So, I urged our guys that it wasn't necessary to come back at this point. I think the biggest thing, the focus for me is number one, most of our guys have a pretty good situation already established in their hometown, wherever they're located right now. They've got a weight room that they can get to. They're able to get their batting practice and pitching. They're able to throw all those things that they need to do and can do. They're able to do back home. So having them in that situation is a lot better than bringing them to campus. We've got a 4-week basically process where they really can't do anything outside of going to the weight room and getting their strength and conditioning, which is extremely important. But also for me, the focus is allowing our fall sports to kind of be on campus, not overcrowd areas, and really keep everybody safe. And that's what I urged our players to do, right now. And when we get to, when school starts in late August, and we're going to be able to catch up. We'll catch up rapidly, and we'll be able to do things to make sure that we're prepared when we get to the championship segment of our season and it opens in mid-February. We'll be prepared. So not for them to panic, not for them to rush back to campus, and really get here and not have much of their day. I mean, basically you're talking about going to the weight room for 1 hour, and that's all they got per day. There's not much else they can do. So I've urged them to stay home, and I think that's the best thing for them and their families right now.
Coach Anderson kind of mentioned, how important the football season is. And is that part of your reasoning for maybe just making sure that those football players stay safe by maybe keeping your guys out? Is that part of the decision making, you think, too?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we know that football drives the economics and the athletic side of things, and we need football to take place. And I think anything that we can do, as a baseball program to help that along, I think we need to do that. And I feel like all of our other sports need to understand that as well, and kind of do the same on their end of trying to make sure that we're setting the safest environments possible. And we're dealing with teenage athletes, and I know that every one of our athletes are saying, well, this isn't going to affect me, and you just worry about, when you can't monitor for 24 straight hours, you worry about some of the things that could happen. And I think the smaller our numbers are right now, the more chance we have to have a lot of success. And, I know the University of Missouri is well equipped and set up. I mean, our protocols and guidelines that we have in place and the enforcement of them, we're doing an outstanding job with it right now. And we've been very fortunate here in Columbia with the lack of cases, I guess I should say, that we've had.
I wanted to ask you about Trey Harris. I know it seemed like you guys had a really productive conversation. I guess what did you learn from that conversation with Trey, and how do you think you'll use what you learned and use that talk to moving forward?
Yeah, I think the most important thing when we're talking about diversity and equality and the racial injustice that's really happening in our society now is just education. I think sometimes the lens isn't broad enough, and we're not seeing some of the things that you can easily overlook, and maybe reacting the right way to situations. And the most important thing that Trey and I talked about was just communication, of not being afraid to talk about just having more communication with our team, within that locker room. And he just shared a lot of, personal things with me that the coaching staff wouldn't know, the things that happen away from the field, and how that affected him when he came to the field, just always carrying some of those burdens that he had. And not only him, just talking about some of the other, we've had some other guys, and I had an opportunity to talk to Eichel Davis, who was, at that time working as a student manager and doing other things for us, and hearing kind of his viewpoint as well of, things that they're not going to come to coaches and talk about, and they're going to, really kind of just look the other way, and just making sure that we're not looking the other way, that we're confronting, that we're communicating, that we're talking, and when you're dealing with, 40 plus athletes, there's a lot of different viewpoints, and there's, maybe things that we might look at and say, well, that's not a big deal. Well, it may not be a big deal, in your world, but it can be. So you just got to communicate more. And I think that's the one thing that, that we'll do a lot better job of having those conversations, and even having tough conversations, and the education is the most important thing, and understanding is the most important thing. And that's the biggest takeaway on this. So those are the things that we'll continue to evolve and do a better job of what we've done in the past, and I felt that I've always been sensitive to those situations. And I think, like Trey said, he goes, Coach, you're not a racist, so you probably don't see some of those things, or you don't, it's harder for you to see that. And, and I think he kind of hit the nail on the head there. And I just got, I feel like I just need to be more aware, as well as keeping our coaching staff more aware, and just, trying to do the right thing all the time. And that's what our program is all about.
Yeah. Another one of your former players, Peter Zimmerman, said he was going to come back, and then it seems like he took his opportunity to go pro. What did you think of that? What did you think of his decision to do that, and especially with the minor league program kind of dissipating a little bit? I guess how hard is that decision to make now?
Yeah, for me, it was kind of a double-edged sword there for Pete. It's I knew that he wanted to go pro, and we openly discussed that quite a bit. My only point to Pete was, you got to look at what the landscape of minor league baseball is going to look like at that time, and technically your development could be kind of halted a little bit, because at least if you came back to the college scene, we're going to start things in the fall. We're going to work all the way through, getting prepared, getting to our playing date of February 15th. And when you look at the minor league season, it's very likely that you're not going to even start baseball until mid-March. So, we're, 40% into our schedule at that time, and you're getting this development, and you got a chance to be drafted or picked up right after that. The pool is going to be a little bit bigger, so it's very likely that you'll still have that same opportunity. But for Pete, the tough thing was his age. Will he have that same opportunity? And just not knowing, I think that's where he was. He was kind of set that he had to do it now. But I mean, I think in hindsight, maybe that's not. As you look at the fact that you at least thought they might get something in the summer, where but in Pete's situation, probably will not get anything in this summer at all, and it looks like it's going to be March before they get that opportunity. And I hated to see that might. You just don't know the uncertainty. I mean, he may never get that opportunity because the minor leagues are also going to. We can see kind of what's coming down a pipeline of them. Organizations shrink into 5 minor league teams and overall, and a lot of them are at 7 right now. So there's going to be fewer opportunities all across the board, I believe.
I talked to Trey about this probably about a month ago, and I'm not sure if his opinion on this has changed or not, but he was kind of saying that maybe it was a good thing that they were dropping some of maybe there was too many minor league teams. What do you think? Maybe this has gone too far, or what do you think of the overall minor league landscape and where it's going?
Well, I think you can look at it several ways. The one thing that we want to do in baseball is continue to grow the game. And when you remove 40 plus minor league teams, you're eliminating players and opportunities. And yeah, the reality is that the guys that even turn professional, it's very unlikely that they're going to get to the major league level, or are very unlikely that they're going to make any money in the game at all. But you're also the opportunities, and to me, what athletics provides, in the future for your development and all those things, that the positives of playing athletics as long as you can. And I know that, my minor league career was lengthy and got a little opportunity to play, a couple of years in major leagues. And that was, that helped develop me. That was a life changer for giving me more opportunities down the road. So we're losing some of those opportunities in our game. And the other side, that you look at the communities that have really relied on minor league baseball, of the communities kind of losing that as well. I mean, we're shrinking the pool, the pot of players down. But I get it from a major league standpoint. The scouting is so much better now, the information that they have. So there's not as many misses whenever you select a professional player, because of the way that the analytics have changed the game, the technology of, scout, it's not just a scout now putting his eyes on him and say, hey, I think this player has what it takes, and drafting him. Now they're using a lot of the numbers to make sure that the information that they have, that they can use to see, well, player that's got, whether it's, velocity or movement. We can't find another player that's ever made it to the major leagues that has this. So, why bring him into our system and all those things. So I think the fact that scouting's got so much better is one of the reasons they don't feel that they don't need the 180 minor leaguers in their system. When they typically, you might find a 32nd rounder that makes it to the major leagues, or there's just not as many of those possibilities now, I believe.
And lastly, what do you think of the Major League Baseball situation right now? You think like just the whole summer, and do you think they'll get to play? I know, we're just speculating here, but
yeah, I mean, I think, I do hope that they get to play. I do hope they're able to, use all the precautions and keep everybody healthy, and that we get a chance to see Major League Baseball. I think it's good for so many reasons that will happen. But I do understand some of their concerns that they may have. But I think it's going to be a very exciting time. 60 games. It's a sprint kind of to the postseason, and it's almost like those guys that are used to that sprint of college baseball being 56 games to it takes us a little bit longer. It takes us more weeks to get in our 56 games than that's going to take the professional level here. But I think it's exciting to watch, that every game, and not that every game didn't matter in a 162 game schedule, but you look at the Nationals. I think their start last year, they were like 19-31 was the start. But you have that start this year, you're not going to win a World Series. So of the urgency, it's going to be good to watch that. It's going to be kind of cool to see how managers play each game. Is it more of a postseason look where they're going to sacrifice a little bit more? They're going to play small ball. They're, doing those sorts of things. And, having the expanded rosters where you can really do some creative things, I think, with your pitching staff and how that rotation looks. But I'm very interested in seeing 60 games of baseball. I can tell you that. I haven't seen baseball since March, and that's been very tough for me this summer, with us not being able to go out and recruit and see the game. So I'm excited and hoping that everything continues to move forward and safely moves forward.
Yeah.